In key point number 3, we look at how diets don't work. These are some typical advertising pieces that somewhat dated, but we still see them very often, maybe coming off of a freeway off-ramp, posted in the dirt. I feel like I went to bed fat and woke up thin, announcing the overnight diet, a diet that medically, safely, and naturally burns fat while you sleep. Or, I lost 13 pounds in just 4 days, says Robin Leach. Use Slender's secret, a 4-day juice therapy program, once a month to cleanse your system and curb unwanted cravings for junk food the natural way. These probably don't sound so outlandish because we do see these all the time, and they're pretty tempting. Who wouldn't want to burn, a quick 10 pounds in a week? Here's another little comic piece by Kathy. It's a bit dated, but it sends a very specific message. In the past 10 years, the amount of money spent on diet programs has doubled to $35 billion a year. In the exact same 10-year period, adult Americans have gained an average of 8 pounds each. The more money we spend dieting, the more weight we gain. The more weight we gain, the more money we spend dieting. When they speak of the millennium, they're referring to the future span of our waistline. And this just kind of sends home the fact that, we keep on going on diets, but people aren't getting thinner. Our culture and everyone in our culture, we're having a trend of increased obesity. So what's going on with that? Let me give you my little spiel on why I feel diets don't work. We already discussed in a previous key point that yo-yo dieting has with it what we call the ratchet effect. Yo-yo dieting being when we do severe restriction of our food intake, which causes us to lose weight rapidly, and what we consider rapidly is anything greater than 2 pounds per week. A typical target should be about 1 pound per week. So when we lose that extreme weight, we lose muscle mass as well as maybe some fat. But all of that weight loss is not going to be fat. When we lose muscle mass, we slow our metabolism down, which means we're burning less calories. And then when we go back to eating regular food, there's a tendency, or a regular diet, for people to gain weight back even more than where they started. And then they go on that crash diet again because they get remotivated, and then they gain the weight back and go even higher again. The problem with this system is it tends to put a sense of failure onto people as well, that they're unable to keep the weight off. But let's be reasonable. Anybody who needs to eat cabbage soup for 20 days to try to do severe weight loss, that's not an appropriate thing for anyone to feel like they should be able to accomplish. Our body is going to fight against that because it's too severe of a calorie restriction. Also, when people have unobtainable or unreasonable goals, that works against them as far as being successful with weight management, because they keep on striving maybe for that 110-pound weight goal coming from maybe 180 pounds. Whereas maybe if they find a more middle ground, reasonable goal at maybe 130 or 140 pounds, they would improve their weight by coming down from 180 pounds, but they would also be able to maintain that weight, which is also a factor or component that contributes to better health than doing that severe weight loss and then regaining all the weight. Also, diets only work as long as a person keeps on it. That's kind of the nature of when you say a diet. It means that, I'm going to go on it, and if you go on it, then eventually you come off of it. So the fact that it's not a long-term solution. Here's just a graphic that shows that yo-yo effect or ratchet effect with yo-yo dieting. So what does work? Well, it's my philosophy that if you change your habits, they will change you. I really believe in that if we just focused on, eating nutritionally, incorporating activity where we can, as much as we can, instead of on a scale weight. If we did just all those habits and we logged those and congratulated ourselves with those good habits, then we would see our weight follow and become exactly what we wanted it to be. So let's take a look at what we want to do to be successful with weight loss or weight management. First, taking a good inventory before you embark on any type of program to lose weight, and make sure that you've done a little inventory of benefits versus sacrifices. How much time and effort is going to go into this? How many major life changes are you going through at that given time? You know, if you just bought a new house, just got married, just had a new baby, you know, these are some of the top stressors in our life, or just got a new job. You wouldn't at the same time want to also embark on a lifestyle change or a diet, because that's too many things to realistically be successful at the same time. We want to try to set ourselves up for success by making it doable or reasonable. So looking at, gee, what are going to be the benefits if you lose the weight? And what are going to be the sacrifices that you have to make in your lifestyle? And really making an upfront decision if you're ready for that now, or if you should wait until a better time in your life when you might be have better support or be more predisposed to do a better job at your goal. Having realistic or reasonable goals, preparing to lose your weight slowly. So something I like to encourage people to do is actually write it on the calendar. If your target is 10 pounds of weight loss, then chart on the calendar, you know, what pound loss should you see within 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So you keep a better, more realistic image in your mind about where you should be. Many of us feel that, gosh, if I didn't drop that 5 pounds in the first week, it's not working. And that's not necessarily true. Taking a look at whether the issue is overeating versus under-exercising. Increasing activity might be what somebody needs to simply accomplish a 5 to 10 pound weight loss. And exercise is one of the most effective ways to maintain weight loss. So once we get ourselves into a routine or a program where we have activity incorporated into our lifestyle, they see much more long-term success to maintain weight. What does exercise do? Well, there's a myriad of things that it does for us. Tones our muscles, which again increases our BMR. It can decrease stress, decrease that set point, which our body sometimes has for our weight, and decreases appetite many times. Another important piece for people to do is, if they're overeating, investigating or doing a little bit of that tough work of looking at why. And again, this is why many programs might not work, or working with a physician. This takes time, and it takes a lot of sometimes in-depth effort to find out what these triggers are for yourself or for any individual. So how do we do this? Keeping food logs and monitoring. Gee, what were my emotions throughout the day as I had different types of foods to eat? Or what were the places that I was at or people I were with when I was triggered to eat the foods that were less healthy for me? And trying to pick out those patterns. That's the value of the food logs, is we can start to see our patterns over time and identify what are our patterns or behavior areas that we want to try to modify. Making sure we work hard at the philosophy we have in our mind, being willing to give up the dieting idea and try new ways to eat, which is completely adjusting maybe your attitudes toward eating versus trying to take someone's written diet plan and follow that. Being willing to change our attitudes that we might have about whether it's our body image or being forgiving and accepting of ourselves. Sometimes one of the main things that ruins an effort at changing lifestyle for someone is maybe they have one instance where they ate the whole Ben and Jerry's quart and they're upset with themselves. There's what they call the spiral down effect, that if you don't forgive yourself or let go of that, put in perspective that one blip or error in your eating pattern, that sometimes makes someone throw the whole effort out the window and they don't try any longer to have a modified lifestyle. So it's important to have that realistic expectation that we're all going to have blips. We're all going to have moments when we're not eating as healthy as we might want to. But that fits in perspective. If we look at the Ben and Jerry's, and gee, maybe at the maximum we had 1,000 extra calories by eating that full quart. I don't know, I'd have to look at a Ben and Jerry's container. But even if it was 2,000 calories, remember 3,500 calories is a pound. So we haven't even gotten to adding an extra pound with that little blip in eating the extra Ben and Jerry's. So keeping in perspective is really important. Accepting and taking a good look at body image, because many times we have false images of what our body truly looks like. Things that we carry from our childhood are sometimes what sabotage us. That's something that we were told as a child about, either our nose or our body type, sticks with us. And many times people as adults are still really dealing with that, and they need to do some work on body image or acceptance to be able to be successful at weight management. Some features of a sound program. So if you want to go out there in the community and find a sound program, you want something that you can follow for life. Again, this isn't something you jump on the plan and then you jump off the plan. You want something that integrates into your regular eating. You eat your regular food. It provides adequate nutrition. It provides moderate weight loss, which is 1 to 2 pounds per week. Why? Because that moves you toward good health. When you're losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, chances are the majority of that will be fat loss. And that's what we're after for achieving better health. We want a program also to have regular meals. We don't want these long periods of deprivation going on, because that sets people up also for failure. We want a program that has foods that are high in carbohydrate and low in fat. Now this is controversial though, and I don't think it's a main focal point. That's probably the small piece of the puzzle. If you'd rather go on a high protein diet, it really probably isn't going to be a major problem for anyone to do that, or a major difference. If you feel more satisfied eating a little higher in protein, then you should do that. There are certain particular disease states that maybe that wouldn't be as preferential, and people with diabetes need to be a little bit careful. But they surely could benefit from a more moderate carbohydrate diet with diabetes. So it's definitely a balancing act depending on your unique situation. Making sure exercise is a component of the program. Again, that's a key piece, and you'll see on your quiz, as far as maintaining weight. Look at who's the promoter and what is their background and what is their motivation. Is there money to be made on their part? And if so, just make sure you rethink it.